They were just only used for imprisoning women.
This is for only women self.
For women only, and they just only giving the food.
लो नहीं है ठीक है, लेकिन फिर भी उसने बात करके हमें ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी। ये देख रहे हैं, ये वो सारे आले हैं जिनसे मर्डर होते थे इनके, और ये इस तरह से मर्डर किया जाता था। देख रहे हैं, और जो बड़े हमने वो रूम आपको दिखाए हैं, इस तरह से इनको लिटाया जाता था और ऐसे इन पे पानी छोड़ा जाता था।
However, they converted our classroom into smaller room size. This building A, the ground floor, all the rooms they were just only used for VIP victim. So what kinds of VIP victim?
जी हम जा रहे हैं म्यूज़ियम में। What is the name of museum?
Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum.
Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum। तो उसकी जो टिकट है वो $5 है। तो तकरीबन इधर से मैंने जो देखा था वो 11 किलोमीटर है। अभी 20 को मिनट लगेंगे पहुंचने में। पहुंचते हैं और इंशाल्लाह उधर भी हमारा कोई 1 से 1.5 घंटे का टूर है, तो उसको भी बाकायदा हम सारा देखते हैं और आपके साथ भी शेयर करते हैं।
A few moments later.
फाइनली हम पहुंच चुके हैं म्यूज़ियम में, और अभी ये बस जो है ये पीछे पार्क होगी, और मेरा दिल है कि मैं सामने वाली साइड पे जो है ना हो जाता हूँ। उसकी रीज़न ये है, अच्छा मैं गाड़ी दिखा रहा था वो मुझे आगे से ऐसे ऐसे हाथ हिला के चला गया, तो बाकी अभी ये मज़ीद गाड़ी थोड़ी पीछे करेगा। ये सारी लगता है ट्रैवलिंग आई है बस, जितने भी हैं ना ट्रैवल करने वाले, इनकी बस आई है। बाकी हम इधर थोड़ा सा वेट करते हैं, कैमरे का वाइड एंगल लेंस ही नहीं कभी कभी काम करता। अच्छा ये जो हमें टिकट है ये कास्ट की है $5 की, और ये अप्रॉक्सीमेटली जो वियतनाम सॉरी कंबोडियन करेंसी में है।
No,
लाइक दिस। ओके
The barcode, no, up there. Okay, please come in.
ओके जी, इस तरह से जो है ये अब इधर भी है कोई सिस्टम, वाह वही सिस्टम है। अच्छा ये ना जितने भी लोग ट्रांसलेटर हैं ना, उन सब के लिए ये इन्होंने वो हेडफोन्स रखे हुए हैं ताकि ये लोग इजीली अंडरस्टैंड कर सकें उस चीज़ को। सो अभी हम अपना इधर से जर्नी को स्टार्ट करते हैं। टिकट को हम डालते हैं अपनी पॉकेट में। सो लेट अस गो गाइस।
All right, thank you. Now again, welcome to Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum, but now it becomes known as S21. Of course, talking about the history of this place, here it was one of our former high schools in our capital city here. But after Khmer Rouge armies and leader came in power, started from 1976, it was converted into the security center prison during the Khmer Rouge regime. According to Mr. Katil, a man who was responsible for this place, following his confession from our Khmer Rouge Tribunal Court, he confessed that he was responsible for 12,000 people were brought and imprisoned here. We had our people were brought and imprisoned here, just only people kept alive just only before they received the victim confession. After they prepared the victim confession, of course all the people they were sent out of this place to the new house. The word new house during the Khmer Rouge regime referred to the killing fields. Among the 12,000 people from this former prison, actually we had just only 12 people could save their life from this place. Following Mr. Muzey, one of the survivors from this former prison, he explained us that how he could save his life. It was because of the Liberation Army came and fought against the Khmer Rouge Army on the 7th of January 1979. 8 adults were collected by the security and they were sent out of this place, but they didn't know where they were being sent to. It was about 20 kilometers, just only because it was because of the Khmer Rouge Army could not fight against the Liberation Army. they finally dropped their weapons and were running into the forest. That's how that's how 8 adults could save their life from this place. And finally, this place was discovered on the 10th of January 1979 by Liberation Army. What they found from this place, of course, this former high school, later it became unbelievable place after the Khmer Rouge took power. What we found from this former high school after it turned to the prison, of course, this building A, from the ground floor, we found 14 victims. They were already got murdered by Khmer Rouge security. All the dead bodies, they were really in bad decomposition, in bad smell, and very swollen. We could not recognize the identities of those people. We could just only recognize what one of them was female. After their photos and video taken, they were carried out of the building. That's why we have here, these are the 14 graves of the last 14 victims. Just please remember that here was one of the security center during the Khmer Rouge regime. But here it was the biggest and the most important from the Khmer Rouge regime. To understand what was happening here, first, now I just would like to invite you to start our tour from building A first. Alright, so now could you please follow me to come inside the room. What we can learn from the Khmer Rouge regime, actually we had our bigger classroom size for our students, but after they came in power, they converted our classroom into smaller room size. This building A, the ground floor, all the rooms, they were just only used for VIP victims. So what kinds of VIP victims? VIP victims refer to former government leaders or government officials. After they were sent to this place, of course, we had our victims were sleeping in this sleeping on this iron bed, and these shackles were used and locked the victims' legs. And this emulsion box, it was used for victims' poop, no toilet. This table and chair, of course, were used for Khmer Rouge security, recording victims' confession, also recording the victim's background. Now again, please have a look to the window here. Actually, we had a shutter. The air could come in and out for our students, but after the army came in power, they converted the window into the mirror because they didn't want victims scream out heard to the first and the second floor up there. The first and the second floors, they were mass detention rooms. And the photo from the wall right there, it was taken by Vietnamese journalists when they arrived here on the 10th of January 1979. And the photo was taken by Vietnamese journalists when they got here with Liberation Army. So what happened to the victims while they were being imprisoned in the room? So could you please now follow me and read the disciplines that all the victims had to follow while they were being imprisoned inside this former security place. Could you please read all the 9 disciplines were used? In the middle, it original photo taken talking about their rules during the regime, and on the left it written in Khmer language, and on the right it translated into English. And after the country liberated, we had this former security center finally turned into the Genocide Museum. And we recently find the victims' names from our office. And here some of the others victims who were imprisoned in the room. And from this building A, the ground floor, we have the same room size, we have the same evidence on display. Thank you. Could you please now have a look to the photo from the wall right there? This is the photo of our 7 survivors among the 8 of them. After the country liberated, we discovered them, but a few years later, most of them passed away. Just only 2 of them who are still alive. Please have a look. The first guy from the left and the 5th guy from the left to the right, they are still alive. And they were all skilled people. How they could save their life? Because they were collected by the security and sent out of this place on the 7th of January 1979. That's how they could save their life. Of course, they were not released. They were just still being imprisoned. But when they wanted them to work for their works, they sent people to their working places.
But now they are released
They were not released.
right now.
No, I mean during the regime.
Okay.
They were not released. They were still being imprisoned. But when the security wanted them to work for them, they sent those people to work.
Okay.
But how they could save their life, they were collected and sent out of the place
Okay.
by the security. And please remember that not every victims committed crimes like what they were being accused of. But following the former victim confession, security, of course, they arrested more and more people. It's really hard for the victim to give them confession. For example, you were a doctor, but you were being accused of being politician. Of course, for the first day, victim would say no. But later, they had different torturing ways to force our victim to give them confession. Could you please now have a look to that wooden gallows? Of course, it was the place where our students conducted their exercise while the study break. But after they came in power, the security converted this into torture tools. And how they did to our victims, could you please now walk close to and have a look the painting which was painted by one of our survivors. You can also have 1 or 2 minutes to read this. All right, thank you. We have done our visit from the first building A. So now I just would like to invite you to come inside the building B. And what we are going to see from this building, of course, this building, before there were also mass detention room, but started from 1977, Dutch ordered his security to convert the room into individual cells. But after the country liberated, we had those individual cells from this building B were demolished because we wanted space for our photos to be displayed in order to show people what was happening during that period of time. So now from this building, what we're going to see, sure, we're going to see more photos of the victims from that period of time. Thank you. Please now follow me to come in. So these are the photos showing us about the Khmer Rouge army. They captured our city on the 17th April 1975. The first day they arrived, we had people were so happy. They were coming out of their houses clapping, welcome the army. They thought the army would bring them the peace. But what they were thinking was completely wrong. 3 hours after the army arrived the city, they had their very young army started forcing our people to move out of the city immediately. And of course, people were forced to move out of the city by very young army. Why they use young army? Because young army, they were short-sighted people. They did what they were told. And people were moved out of the city very quickly, and people were told alive that our city was being bombed. And they told people to move out of the city just only for 3 days and then to come back. But actually it was their strategy. According to one of the Khmer Rouge leader, Mr. Nunchia, Deputy Prime Minister, he confessed that why they moved our people out of the city, because two big reasons. First, to break the former government structure. Secondly, to eliminate foreign spies. That's why we had our people started moving out. Within 3 days, they made every city in the whole country empty. People were sent from the city to the countryside. 1976, after Pol Pot came in power, he started the war fighting against foreign politics. That's why we had Cambodian land divided into 6 zones and 32 regions. This part of our Cambodian land, it was called Eastern Zone, and later from 1976 it became battlefields between our war in our nation here. And how my parents could save their life, late 1976 they were sent from this province to the other part of the city. That's how my parents could save their life from the region. During the Khmer Rouge regime, they were using black color. The black color was explained to the people that it represents the purity. Purity in their community during that period of time. They were focused on people classes, no poor, no rich. They made people live equally. And everything must be in cooperative unit during that period of time. And here, following this writing, it mentions these are the photo of the Khmer Rouge armies. But according to Mr. Nham In, former photographer from this former prison, he explained us that most of them later they became victims after they were appointed as the security and working inside this former prison. After they had mistake, they also had the same results as the other victims. Not only from this side, but you can also have a look to this side. These are also the photo of the victims.
Why everyone is wearing cap?
They were Khmer Rouge army.
Okay.
They
this
were
is the,
all.
This is the landmark of their.
Actually, they were using that type of the cap during that period of
Okay.
time. Yeah. Thank you. Now again, please have a look. Photo and painting here. Of course, Khmer Rouge armies and leaders, they were from Communist Party. and they wanted people to execute their 4-year plan. First, they wanted to make our people to understand how to live equally in their community, and secondly, they wanted our people to produce our own products. That's why after they came in power, they started forcing our people to plant the rice 5 to 7 tons from 1 hectare. And then they started forcing our people to work in the collective farm. In some regions were forced to work longer hours. They could produce 5 to 7 tons of rice from 1 hectare, but after Khmer Rouge leaders started purging against each other, they made people hungry. My parents who experienced from that region, they said they could just only receive a bowl of water with few grains of rice for their meals during that period of time. All right, thank you. Now I just would like to invite you to come to the next room. We still have our local Cambodians coming to this place and looking at the photos. Some of them they find their relatives, family members. But in these rooms, we have the photo not only Cambodians but also foreign people. As you can see from this board, we have the photo, this guy from Pakistan. And these 3 guys from India, this guy from Australia, and these 2 guys from New Zealand. That's the photo taken from mass detention room. Actually, Khmer Rouge army, they also wanted to damage all the victims' photos and documents from their working places, but they could not do that on time. That's why after the country liberated, we could find those documents, especially victims' photo brought and on displayed here. According to our museum expert, this young boy was the first victim brought and imprisoned inside this former security center. So for the next room, when we are walking there, please watch your steps because we still have the mantle on the ground. So what we can see from this room again, of course, those are the photos taken from killing fields after grave pits were excavated. And these are the shackles were used for mass detention room. People were locked together in 2 rows for the mass detention room. And that is the photo of the general view about the killing fields, the place that we already visited. Security sometimes they could not receive any confessions from our victim, and some of them they also died during torturing, and some of them also committed suicide. That's why security they had to take the photo of the dead victim. All right, thank you again about this building. During the Khmer Rouge regime, it was the working office where they kept our victims' photos and confessions. Actually, Khmer Rouge army, they also wanted to damage all the document and photo from this building, but they could not do that on time. That's why this modern day, we can have victims' photos and documents on display for the public here. And the smaller building right there, it was the place where they kept torturing tools. But now it turned to the warehouse. Victims, after they were detained inside this place, they were painful enough for themselves. Sometimes they committed suicide, jumped off the building. And then the army, to prevent people from committing suicide, they decided to use this barbed wire to prevent people from jumping off the building. Before 1977, they were mass detention room, but after that year, Dutch ordered his security to convert our rooms into smaller individual cells. So one cell just only for one person. The victim could not run away because they were still chained up. They were still chained up. Dutch, he had an idea to put people in one of the individual cell here. It was one of their way to make victims, giving them confession faster. From this building, the ground floor, from the ground floor, the individual cells were constructed from brick, and the first floor they were constructed from wood. But we have to walk up there. The ground floor they were just only used for women, for men, and the first floor were used for women. So now please follow me to go up there. Please watch your step with the mentor. So from this first floor of this building C, we also had individual cells constructed from wood, and they were just only used for imprisoning women.
This is for only women cell.
For women only, and they just only giving the food through this. And they pierced the wall because they didn't want to use many security to taking care. And we walk to the second floor to see the mass detention rooms. So from this floor, this is the mass detention room where they imprison 50 to 70 people in one room here. Could you see the drain?
Yes.
Over there? That is the way how they release the water, because our victims, they could get water for washing 2 or 3 times within 2 or 3 months. They didn't care about the people's health. As I have already mentioned, they just only kept people alive before they prepared the victims' confessions. And they did the same with the other buildings there.
For same purpose?
The same.
अच्छा जी, ये जो है ना, ये सारे मैस रूम थे, ये यूज़ किए जाते थे इधर कैदियों को डालने के लिए। और नीचे वाले भी आपने सारे फ्लोर्स देखे। होप सो आपको इंफॉर्मेशन में इजाफा हुआ होगा कि कंबोडिया किस लिए इतना बदनाम है, कि क्या है वाकई। इसके पीछे भी एक बड़ी बैक एंड दी स्टोरी है कि जितने इस तरह जुल्म थे, सारे इधर जितने भी क्राइम थे, उनको मद्देनज़र रखते हुए।
And again, please have a look to the photo close to the wall there. That is the photo showing us about the 5 kids who were discovered by the Liberation Army on the 10th of January 1979 after they captured our city here. They found 5 kids, but one of them already passed away, just only 4 alive. The 2 carried kids, they were adopted and sent to Germany, but this modern day, no news about them. Just only 2 naked kids are still alive, and they are encouraged to come back to this place to tell people about their own history. They are sitting on the other side under the tree or waiting, telling people from the other side there under the tree. All right, thank you. Now we have done our tour from this genocidal museum. This building D, it is the last stop for our tour from this side. I just would like to let you have your own time, about 10 or 15 minutes to read more detailed information. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you then.
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू।
All right, see you there.
ओके, इधर जो है ना मोस्टली फीमेल्स की पिक्चर्स, ज़्यादा मेल्स की नहीं है। तो मैं खुद भी हिस्ट्री में बड़ा दिलचस्पी रखता हूँ, इसलिए मैंने गाइड का सारा जितना भी है वो सारा रिकॉर्ड करके आपको दिखाया, अपलोड किया सारा। होप सो आपने एंजॉय किया होगा। उसमें मेरा स्पीकिंग भी नहीं है, मेरी कोई उसमें विजन भी नहीं है, वीडियो भी नहीं है उस हिसाब से। लेकिन मैं भी अगर किसी को उससे दिलचस्पी हो, क्योंकि ये वो जगह है जिन पे कैमरा अलो नहीं है, ठीक है, लेकिन फिर भी उसने बात करके हमें ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी। ये देख रहे हैं, ये वो सारे आले हैं जिनसे मर्डर होते थे इनके, और ये इस तरह से मर्डर किया जाता था, देख रहे हैं। और जो बड़े हमने वो रूम आपको दिखाए हैं, इस तरह से इनको लिटाया जाता था और ऐसे इन पे पानी छोड़ा जाता था, और इस तरह से ये पीते थे और कैसे करते थे आप खुद अंदाज़ा लगा लें। और ये देखें, ये सारा इसका ही है ना, वो बॉक्स होता था, ये जंजीर होती थी, और ऐसे ही इनकी ज़िंदगी गुजर जाती थी। और कुछ को तो इन जगहों पे बांधा जाता था, ये उस तरह से हाथ काट दिए जाते थे, नाखून उतार दिए जाते थे। पानी के अंदर इस तरह से डुबो दिया जाता था, देख रहे हैं। अब अगर पीछे की गाइड की थोड़ी बहुत आवाज़ आ रही है तो मार रही है, दूसरा माइक फिर उसके पास ही है, तो होप सो ना ही आ रही हो, चुप करके बैठा हो वो, क्योंकि बार बार डिस्कनेक्ट करना भी किसी टास्क से कम नहीं है। ये उस वक़्त की ही उनकी खोपड़ियाँ हैं, ये सारी इधर पड़ी हुई थी, देख रहे हैं। ये सारी रियल टाइम है। अब ये बेल भी उसी वक़्त की है, इसको शायद रेनोवेट किया हुआ है इस मोनूमेंट को। ये तब की सारी तब की हड्डियाँ हैं। यार मुझे देख के कि नॉलेज में कुछ इजाफा हुआ होगा, कंबोडिया के बारे में आपको भी जानने का मौका मिला होगा।
A few moments later.
ले गाइस, ये म्यूज़ियम तो हमारा हो गया क्लियर और अभी हम जा रहे हैं अपनी नेक्स्ट डेस्टिनेशन पे. सो वेयर इज़ आवर नेक्स्ट डेस्टिनेशन एंड व्हाट इज़ द नेम ऑफ आवर नेक्स्ट डेस्टिनेशन?
After this, we're going to see another monuments. First, we're going to see constitutional monument.
Okay.
Constitutional and independence monument. After that, we're going to see statue of our former Khmer king, and then we're going to see Cambodia, Vietnam, friendship monuments.
Okay.
And our last stop is at the Central Market.
Okay. So how much distance from here to monument?
From here to the monument, it takes us about 10 minutes drive.
Okay, 10
It
minutes.
depends on the traffic.
Okay.
Yes.
So they need ticket again to scan?
No, we can come to the exit.
ओके चलें जी, अभी चलते हैं जाके फिर नेक्स्ट अपनी डेस्टिनेशन पे पहुंच के फिर आपको बताते हैं. तब तक मैं अपना फ़ोन भी थोड़ा चार्ज कर लेता हूं और खुद भी थोड़ा चार्ज हो जाता हूं. सो लेट्स गो गाइस, दिस इज़ द एग्ज़िट गेट और हम जा रहे हैं. थैंक यू. ओके गाइस, होप सो आपने इस सारी हिस्ट्री को एंजॉय किया होगा.